Football 101 with Coach Bret Bielema. Brought to you by Carl, the official health provider of Fighting Illini Athletics.
Welcome back to Football 101. Martin O'Donnell joined as always by Coach Bret Bielema. And Coach, obviously we saw this on the offensive line. We've seen it in the defensive backfield now. But tell me a little bit about your thoughts on positional versatility. What do you look for that in recruiting, and also some of the examples that we've had recently?
Yeah, a lot of times we call it position flex, like the ability to have flexibility within our scheme to play multiple positions. Offensively, it jumps out. Isaiah Adams started at right tackle. He started at left guard. He started at left tackle. He started at right guard, I believe, last year. So here's a guy that has great position flex based on what's going on. You see a little bit of that on our defense, right? Like, so Xavier Scott has played basically our nickel. He's played corner. He's also played safety. Isaiah Williams, we use him as a slot receiver, X receiver. So it kind of goes on. And I think in recruiting, when you have this guy that has a lot of position flex, can do a lot of different things, it just brings their value. And in the NFL, there's a huge price tag on that.
And is that something you have guys practice intentionally? Do you put them in different spots, in fall camp and spring ball? What does that look like?
Yeah, and specifically like Isaiah Adams, he's a guy that has literally been able to be successful every position we put him in. So it kind of has a matchup, right? So you might be a defense coordinator that knows he's going to be at left guard, all of a sudden he's a right tackle. I would say Isaiah Williams is the classic definition, right? So he draws a lot of attention. He gets double coverages. He has guys that align over him and try to funnel him in certain directions. So the more versatility that he has to line up in different, so he's not always in the same position. Right. Kind of like number one for us this week against FAU. He's a receiver for them that literally does everything from A to Z. Great punt returner, but he lines up in multiple positions as a wide receiver.
And we know that obviously Illinois has faced some pretty good competition so far this year. Florida Atlantic has also played a few pretty good teams.
Yeah, Florida Atlantic started off in game Monmouth that they controlled that from the snap, but Ohio U is a team that comes from the MAC, a very good football team. They lost a close one to them, 17-10, and then last week Ohio U turned around and beat Iowa State 10-7, right? So they're a good team. And then last week they played Clemson. Had some things go wrong. Obviously the quarterback went down in the middle of the second quarter that put the new quarterback in, and he's a really capable quarterback as well. But they had some things go on them, run a little bit sideways at Clemson. I know they'll come in here full go rodeo.
Full go rodeo, I like that. Now the other thing, couple things going on this weekend aside from the game, kind of in conjunction with the game honoring the 1951 Rose Bowl champions. How do you educate the team on the tradition of the University of Illinois, of the history that's here?
Yeah, when I got here it was during COVID, so it's kind of interesting. There have been a couple celebratory moments that were missed because of COVID and the rescheduling of that. So obviously the 51 Rose Bowl, to honor them this way. Every week, one of the things that I decided to do as a head coach, we bring in a guest captain, a former player. We try to kind of vary it up between basically times that they were here, vintages of their performance. Last week was Stu Levenick. Stu's been an incredible story here within the University of Illinois football. He was started as a walk-on, ended up being a drafted NFL player, went to work for Caterpillar, has been an incredible donor, giving back both his time and his value as a contributor. Really, our team room is named in his honor, right, and been an active participant for us and also in the NIL world. So every week we bring in a different former player that can kind of talk about what he did, not just about their time here, but more importantly what they've done since their time here, and that really allows our players to grow.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, exposing them to people that have been successful and obviously people that have worn the orange and blue and had a lot of success. Also this weekend, honoring area educators. What kind of student was a young Bret Bielema?
Well, my mom was on the Board of Education, so I was very quick, and my mom was a school teacher before I was even born. When my older siblings, I was the youngest for 7 years before my little sister came along, but my mom started in education as a teacher and then actually ended up running a daycare center for over 20 years. And so there was a very quick tie from my mother to my entire academic background. I was a National Honor Society student. Probably could have done better than I did, but I really do think now as I look back on it, the teachers were such a huge influence. Yeah. And it's ways that you're influenced that your parents can't, right? Like it's the first time you're away from home. And I think especially for me in high school, my high school coaches and coaches of other sports other than football were a huge impact in my life.
Absolutely. What was your favorite subject?
I was probably a Spanish guy. I was. There's not a translation for Bret to Spanish, so I was Vicente. I really wanted to be a kind of a cool sounding name. So, but I always loved Spanish. I loved really anything that challenged my mind in non-conventional ways, right? Yeah. Like anybody could do the English, the reading, the math, the science, but I really like those outside of the box thinking.
I like that. I was a history guy, but I also really like lunch, so I was friggin' excellent at it. Coach, thank you for your time, and thank you for stopping by Football 101.
Football 101 with Coach Bret Bielema. Brought to you by Carl, the official health provider of Fighting Illini Athletics.